All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me tonight for this open virtual demo. Tonight, I'm going to show you a couple of different dishes that you can make with your Thermomix hands-free meal with a nice little side, super quick and easy. So for those of you who I haven't met before, my name is Erin O'Brien. I'm a Thermomix consultant based in Druin in Victoria. But thanks to this wonderful virtual world, I am able to support my customers and Thermomix owners all over Australia, which I really love. Sometimes internationally too, which is pretty cool. So yes, tonight is all about just showing you a couple of things that Thermomix can do. Obviously, with these virtuals, I plan out that this kind of open virtual that anyone can join. I choose our menu for tonight. So we are cooking a creamy chicken curry and rice and some naan bread. But I like to keep these virtuals really nice and relaxed. I really would love you guys to get as much out of it as possible. So if you've got any questions at all as we're going, please just don't hesitate to pop them in the chat box or ask away. You can come off mute because I've got a nice small group tonight. But yeah, hopefully we can keep it nice, interactive, informative. Hopefully you'll learn something new, get inspired to try a new recipe, or yeah, just learn a bit more about the TN7. I would love you to pop it in the chat box if you are happy to. I'm just going to go over to my Thermomix. Pop it in the chat box if you are happy to. Where are you watching from tonight? And what brought you along? What were you hoping to get out of tonight's virtual? So if you haven't seen the TM7 before, it is our latest model Thermomix. It is just on 12 months old now, actually, which is pretty cool. It is a smart connected cooking appliance. It obviously connects into your Wi-Fi and gives you guided cooking through CookieDo, our virtual recipe platform. So our TM7, much like a couple of our previous models, has the ability to cook through guided cooking, obviously through CookieDo, but also has the ability to cook with manual cooking as well. That way you can use recipes from the internet, from the recipe community, your own personal recipes and all kinds of things. But tonight we are just sticking with some CookieDo recipes. So this is our home screen that you can see now. You can customize your home screen, but I'm a bit of a meal planner, so I always have mine set to the planned recipes option of the home screen. So you can see here what I've planned out for today. If I went into the show all, I've had a bit of a cooking day today. One of my kids was off sick, so the rest of my plans went out the window and I did some lunchbox prep instead. But you can see what I had planned out for today, all in there. And when I get around to meal planning out for the rest of the week, all of my recipes will be in there as well. You have a couple of other different modes and features over this side that you can change around as well. But one I've got it set to the cleaning mode, which I use all the time, and the manual mode is there as well. If we scroll down on our home screen, the first section that comes up along here is our bookmarks. So yeah, I mean, you can use bookmarks however you like. You can save your own recipes here, but how I use bookmarks is the recipes that I cook quite often. Things that I want to just be able to quickly come and find without having to search through CookieDo. So the Thermo Mama white sandwich bread is one that I use all the time. Been making some scrolls and rolls and things with that today. The overnight oats is a brekkie favourite of mine. Pizza we make quite a bit in summer. And the brownies are delicious too. I'm a nurse in my other life and they're my night shift treat. That's why they're saved to bookmarks. But if we keep scrolling down, you'll see our recently cooked section. I've been flicking through the tonight's recipes, so they're there. We had pumpkin soup for dinner. I was making some muffins today. And then the next section is trending recipes. So this is just, recipes that others are cooking on CookieDo at the moment. It's good for some new ideas and inspiration. And then another little feature there. But we'll scroll back up. We'll have a bit more of a look around the screen later. But we are going to get started and go straight into our creamy chicken curry and rice. So yeah, this is the home screen of the recipe. You've got a couple of different options from here. When you're cooking at home, obviously you can just hit start and go straight into your recipe. But we can also scroll down, have a little bit of a look. So we've got our list of ingredients here. You can cheat and, well, not cheat, but just quick step across to the preparation there. So that'll walk you through all of the different steps. You can keep going down to your tips section, which just refers to making your own tandoori paste and almond meal. But otherwise, we can just hit start and go straight into it. So this here is our kind of virtual cooking companion. So what you see on this side of the screen will be mimicking exactly what it wants you to do or what stage you're up to in the recipe. So keep a little eye on that as we're going. But as you see, it's got the bowl with a lid, which is exactly what we're doing right now. So the first step, it just says to place a bowl on top of the mixing bowl lid and then weigh into the bowl 200 grams of basmati rice. So I'm just going to let somebody else in. So what I like to do for this recipe, my little hint and tip, this recipe cooks the rice in the varoma at the same time as our curry, which is one of the things I love about it. I'm all about hands-free cooking and making my life as easy as possible. So we use, I'm just going to move the camera back just a smidgy. We use the varoma function to cook our rice. So for this, I don't need to do an extra bowl. I'm just going to weigh the rice straight into that instead. I don't see any real point in making extra dishes for ourselves. So we are just going to do that. So into there now, I just have to tear the scales because I've put something on top of the Thermomix. And into there now, I'm just going to put our rice. We hit next. It's just telling us to rinse that rice underwater until it runs clear. I've already done that just to save ourselves a little bit of time. And then we're going to cover that in our bowl or in our bud tin with boiling water and set it aside. So I'm just going to do that off screen because otherwise I'm just dropping it all over myself. But literally just covering that rice in that bud tin with boiling water for now. And I'm going to keep on going. So you'll see that Cookaroo runs you through every little step. So even the ones that aren't necessarily the Thermomix directly, it will tell you exactly what to do. So next we are going to pop a few things into our bowl. So you'll see here that someone has taken our lid off. And one of my favourite things, which just seems a bit ridiculous, but I absolutely love about the TM7 is the automatic tearing of the scales. Those of you who have a previous model or have had a previous model will understand. Just the little things I think of, because usually with the previous models, when you took the lid off, you had to tear the scales every time. That's just me bumping the table here that's moving a little bit. So into there, we're going to place 10 grams of fresh ginger. I am just using crushed ginger today. I don't find I use enough ginger to buy a piece from the supermarket. I end up usually throwing out the second half of it. So I just stick to, generally, unless I've got a bit on the menu for the week, just using a jar. And then we're going to pop in 2 garlic cloves. So just whole garlic cloves in there. Well, it says 1, but I do 2. I'm going to tick those off. And then the next one is 1 to 2 fresh green chilies, trimmed and cut into halves. I leave them out. It does say optional in there. Always remember, Cookaroo and guided cooking is just a guide. So we don't do spicy in our house at all, and the kids cook everything I eat. So, sorry, the kids eat everything I cook even. So I just skip the chilies out of pretty much everything we do that's spicy. But if you like spicy, add more. You know, you can play around with it. It's just a guide. We're going to pop these on there. And then we're going to 3 seconds, speed 7. Add the ginger. I mean, we didn't add the whole ginger in the morning. It says don't scrape the mixing bowl. I'll just show you. That lighting's not fabulous, sorry. That's that garlic chopped up in there. Next again, it's just telling us to add in 200 grams of brown onion cut into wedges. So I've got that there. Just straight in. I'm a little bit under just because I've just used the whole onion. I wasn't going to use extra. So again, guided cooking, just a guide. You can change things around. And then 20 grams of olive oil. So the TM7 also has that automatic tick off if ingredients when they're weighed and you're within a certain amount of the weight, it will automatically tick them off for you as well. All right, so now we're just going to pop the lid back on and saute those. Start that. So hopefully you can see, yeah, that soup. I was just looking at the chat box there. The Carolus pumpkin soup is delicious, isn't it? It's our favourite. We've been making that for a very long time in our house, and the kids all love it too. So that's a win. So hopefully you can see the little sizzle symbol here. I can click on it and open it up. This is just the settings for the saute mode. So the sauteing here is using what we're calling our browning mode on our TM7. So it's what was our high heat on the TM6. And it means the temperature of the bowl goes up to 160 degrees. So for example, the TM5, two models ago, the maximum temperature on that was 120 degrees. So it's 40 degrees hotter than that. And what this mode does is mimics the frying pan. So obviously if you were cooking these onions, garlic mixture on the frying pan, if you're standing there, you won't be able to hear it on Zoom, unfortunately, but at the moment it's sizzling away. So if you're standing at the frying pan, letting it heat up, letting that onion and garlic sizzle, and then very occasionally giving it a stir. So that's exactly what this mode does at the moment. You can't hear it because of my headphones, sorry. At the moment, it's sizzling away and the blades aren't moving in the Thermomix. So it's using the surface area of the bottom of the bowl at about 160 degrees to heat, to brown the onion. And then very occasionally the blades will turn and it will give it a stir as well. And so, you're really caramelizing the onion and garlic beautifully. Those of you who have had or have seen one of like the TM31 or the TM5 before. So the 31 actually only went to 100 degrees. So I had a TM5 originally before I joined as a consultant and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I loved everything about it, but I didn't use it for everything. Mainly because I found that it just didn't get hot enough. So there was quite a few meals that I would still cook on the stovetop, things like mince, other kind of like chicken dishes and that, just because I felt like, often when you were heating the meat up, it was kind of sitting in the liquid rather than cooking nicely, if that makes sense. So this extra 40 degrees or 60 degrees, depending on the model, makes a huge difference to really brown and cook things nicely. I don't really cook anything on the stove anymore, other than things like the naan bread. And I don't know about you guys, but then I end up making it a mess and I get more annoyed than when I started. So that is cooking away there. I've got about 1:30 left on that. The other thing that the TM7 has is the browning mode as a manual mode. So the TM6 saw the browning or the high heat mode released. And yeah, like I said, we all loved it and are pretty obsessed with it. But the only kind of, I suppose, setback of that was that you had to use it through guided cooking as a safety feature. So you had to use it in a cook-you-do recipe. But now they've made a few little changes to it and it is available as a manual mode as well. So if you were cooking a recipe that you found online or something like that you think, could really use the high temperatures to brown things a little bit better, you can select it manually. We have a favourite carbonara recipe that I've been making for years as well. And I now use the manual mode to do the bacon on that. And it just takes it that little bit more next level, I think, the flavours. So I'm just going to go into that cross up the top and I'll take us back to where we were in the recipe. At any stage during cooking, you can actually just scroll down and read the rest of the recipe too. So you could, take the opportunity to get the next ingredients out and ready, cut your chicken, that kind of thing. So you can scroll down and all you need to do is just hit that back to current step and it will take you back to exactly where you were. All right, so that is done. We're just going to hit next. And then it's telling us to set it aside to cool for just a minute. So I'll just show you. It won't be that long. Just because it's going to do a chop next, and it's just again an extra safety feature so that we're not chopping in super high temperatures. So let's see if I can try and get it up so that you can see. The browning there. So you can see even there's a bit of browning on the bottom of the bowl. That's how nice and hot that gets. But it cleans off beautifully. Like I said earlier, we've got that pre-clean function on our TM7, and that's got a built-in browning clean too. So what that does is you add the water, you add a bit of dishwashing liquid, and you just let it, you start the cleaning mode and it heats the water, and then it actually gives it a little soak. So you can pop it on before you start dinner, gives it a soak, then gives it a clean, and it's all ready to rinse out once you're finished eating. All right, so we're going to go next. We'll see if we've governed that long enough to cool. We'll try. If not, it'll just give us a little arrow telling us to wait for a minute. So chop 3 seconds, speed 5. All we need to do is press play. Perfect. Given that onion just a bit of a chop there. And now we're going to work through the rest of the next lot of ingredients. So we are going to add in 90 grams of tandoori paste. So it does say, it says see tips on there, but that we read through just before. That was just that you can make your own tandoori paste. So there is a recipe on Cookie-Doo. I'm not sure if anyone made it before. Pop it in the chat box and let me know. So this is tandoori paste that I have made. It's super easy to make. And again, what I love about it is that you can adjust it to everything you like or don't like. So my tandoori paste is obviously super mild. I left out the chili. And we use it for all kinds of things. You mix it with yogurt to do some like tandoori chicken, shredded chicken, or in summer, in the warmer months, we might make some skewers with it. You can use it for all kinds of things, as well as other recipes like this one that have it in there. Keeps beautifully in the fridge and the freezer too. All right, so that automatically ticked us off, and then we're going to add in our 30 grams of tomato paste. And then half a teaspoon of salt. And 100 grams of boiling water. Let's take off the salt because obviously it won't measure the half a teaspoon out. And you can just follow scales here. So each scales are accurate to 1 gram. They are super sensitive. Oh, what am I doing? 30. And we're just going to hit next again. And now it's just telling us to drain that soaked rice and then place it in the room. Right, so I'll just quickly drain it. And then I'm just putting it back in the button that I've cut it in anyway, because like I said before, I didn't feel the need to create more dishes for myself. So that is our rice and the bunting. The bunting is available on the mixture. It's just a little bit thinner than a normal bunting. So the heat kind of distributes through it a little bit easier. So now the screen is telling me to pop my varoma on the top. So the varoma is our steaming attachment. So we're just going to take off, I'm going to turn the camera up a little bit. Take off the measuring, the lid. Right there. Pop in the varoma on the top. It sits inside the rim of the lid. And then next, we're pasting the bunting into that. Next again, we're going to put 200 grams of boiling water in the bunting. So our scales are still working exactly the same, even though and popping stuff in the varoma. And then 40 grams of coconut cream. Oop, a little bit over. A bit carried away there. A tablespoon of ghee. I don't have any ghee at the moment. You can make it with your TM7 as well, but I'm just going to pop some butter in instead. Again, just always remember, guided cooking is just a guide. You don't have to, if you don't feel like you're going to use it again, substitute it with something else is perfectly fine. Or leave things out if the recipe, if the recipe will still work like that. And half a teaspoon of salt. And then we're just going to give that all a bit of a stir just to combine. I've done this rice with butter before and it works perfectly fine like that. All right, now we're just going to pop the lid on. So just setting that straight over the top. And now we're going to start the cooking. So 16 minutes. I'll start it and then I'll talk you through it. So obviously, yeah, guided cooking again, it's all set for us. So 16 minutes. It's using the steaming function. So it's automatically selected the varoma, which is this attachment, through the steaming mode. And it's got it set for speed 1 and on reverse. So your blades in your Thermomix are sharp on one side and blunt on the other. So when you're running in reverse, it just means that you're stirring rather than chopping anything. So anything that is in your bowl, is it going to get kind of mixed up further? Probably not as relevant now because we've only got that kind of onion garlic mixture in there. But later on when we add our chicken and things, obviously we definitely don't want it mixing that up as it's cooking. So that's what the reverse function is there for. I've never used the browning. Have you not used a recipe that's used it? It's actually my favourite. All right, I am lucky enough to have 2 Thermomixes in my kitchen. So we're going to cheat a little bit tonight to save on a little bit of waiting around for cooking. And we're going to make our naan bread in our other Thermomix. So normally if I was doing this, I would just make the naan in one bowl while the dough is proofing, because obviously we need proofing time, switch out the bowl and do the curry. But yeah, like I said, tonight we are just going to save ourselves a little bit of time and do it this way. So we can't have a curry without a delicious naan to go with it, I think. And they are super, super quick and easy. Just need to allow that little bit of proofing time. So just plan into your day when you're making your dough to give yourself time. So like before, we can scroll down if we want to. There are actually, I'll show you quickly. There are actually quite a few different naan recipes on Cookie-Doo. So if we go into the magnifying glass on the side here, it brings up the Cookie-Doo search function. And it's really responsive. It's pretty much like an iPad or the app on your phone. And you just type in naan search and all of your different options will come up. So yeah, like I said before, I planned out our recipes for tonight and had them ready to go in there, but that is as quick and easy as it is to find more. So there is a garlic and coriander naan. There's what's that one? Onion and cumin. There's a whole heap of different ones. So yeah, you can use the search function to bring up your recipes nice and quickly. But otherwise, we'll just get into what we had set. Like before, we could scroll down if we wanted to. Otherwise, we're just going to hit start. Again, if you've got any questions as we're going, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat box. More than happy to answer anything at all. All right, so to start with, we are going to put 1.5 teaspoons of yeast in the bowl. So you just want to make sure when you're making breads and doughs and things, you're putting in yeast, you're just putting it around the blades. Sometimes when you're cooking smaller amounts of things, they can get stuck on the blade. It's just if you just do little things. So if you pop it around the outside of the blades, then they'll all dissolve properly. And next, 3 teaspoons of caster sugar. and some water. So again, it's not going to automatically tick off because I've just used teaspoons. It's not a weighted measurement. But then we'll just tick them off and then it'll take us down to the 195 grams of water. Next, and we're going to warm it up. So popping the lid on, press play. It's got it set for 2 minutes, 37 degrees at speed 1. So what this step is doing is just warming up that water to 37 degrees, which is the optimal temperature for the activation of our yeast. So obviously, making sure that our yeast activates beautifully, gives us perfect dough, delicious, fluffy dough every time. So it's a nice quick step to make sure you get great results. You'll see in a second, above the time here, there is a temperature icon. So that gives you the active temperature of the ingredients in the bowl. So if and when that got up to 37 degrees, if it's before the 2 minutes, you could stop the step and continue on with the recipe. But yeah. The other thing I wanted to show you while this is doing its thing is, I'm not sure, hopefully you can see it on the screen there. Below the time, there's a little padlock. So that padlock is unlocked at the moment. So below speed 2 or below on your TM7, your lid is not actually locked in place. So at any stage when you're at speed 2 or below, if you wanted to check what you're cooking, maybe you missed an ingredient, maybe you forgot to season, something like that, you can just lift off your lid, hit cook. You don't have to pause it, check on it, add in what you wanted to. It will automatically pause for you, pop your lid on and it will restart. So you don't have to, when you bowl, those of you who have a Thermomix will notice, when you're cooking at high speeds and higher temperatures, your bowl system, whether it's this model or a previous one, all locks into place and you have to stop whatever you're doing, pause it to then wait for it to unlock and then open the lid. But yeah, like I said, speed 2 or below, you don't have to do that. You can just lift off at any stage. So that's that active temperature there, that 37. So that's got 3 seconds to go, but if we wanted to, we could have stopped it soon. All right, so in there now, we are going to put 120 grams of natural yogurt. Anyone made naan before? In the chat box and let me know. This curry's smelling delicious. My favourite part about running these virtuals, obviously, is I love being able to help you guys and share so much with you from the comfort of your own home, but it means that our dinner's sorted for the following night too. So I'm already looking forward to this. We've got kids' sport tomorrow night too, so even better. I don't have to worry about getting myself organised. And then 435 grams of plain flour. All right, next we're going to combine that. So 3 seconds on speed 3. So obviously if you weren't making the naan bread at home or you've already done your dough, this time where your curry's cooking, you are hands-free to do anything else. I think we often kind of don't really realise on virtuals because they keep things moving along how much hands-free time there is in a recipe. But yeah, like I said, if we weren't doing our naan now on a separate Thermomix, we could be doing anything else. So if this is your house at dinner time, you might be doing some washing, you might be sitting down with a glass of wine, you might be, looking after the bathing kids, all kinds of different things. But yeah, just that reminder that you're not standing over the stove top. So into there now, we're going to put 30 grams of olive oil. One and a half teaspoons of salt. And half a teaspoon of baking powder. Next, and then we're going to knead. Again, you see the symbol. Whenever there's a symbol, we're using one of our different modes. So the TM7 has over 20 different modes and functions. So the wheat symbol that you see there is our kneading. So 2 minutes of kneading in the Thermomix is equivalent to 20 minutes of kneading. So this is only 30 seconds, equivalent to 5 minutes kneading hand by hand. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I'd be needing anything even for 5 minutes, to be honest, at dinner time. Put that in the too hard basket. But that is it. That is your naan dough done. I'll show you that there. So then it's just telling us from here to transfer it into an oiled bowl and place a kitchen towel over the top and leave it to proof inside. Proof in a warm place until doubled in size, approximately 2 hours. So that's the one we've just done. And this is the one I've prepared earlier. So you can see it's would have doubled in size easily in that time. So I did this one just as we were having dinner actually tonight, just before our soup had finished. So it probably was a little bit longer than the 2 hours, but obviously a Victorian winter, dough proofing can take any amount of time. So from here, you obviously now have some hands-free time while it's proofing normally, but you can continue to scroll down and check the rest of your recipe. So it will walk you through every little step, including the how to make the naan. So it's popping it on a bread mat, which we'll do in a second, and then separating it into 10 equal sized pieces and working them into a bowl, and then using a rolling pin, rolling them into a bit of an oval shape, stretching it out before cooking them. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cook one for to cook one or two while we're curry's doing its thing. Heating up. As while you are preparing your dough, you're also just going to melt a butter and garlic mix to put on the top of it too. So I'm just going to pop the dough in the bowl so we can continue on and do that. I'm not going to wash that out. I'm just going to use the same bowl. It's only got a tiny bit of dough in it. Sorry. So the other thing I love with when I make doughs and things is that they keep beautifully in the fridge or the freezer too. So I won't have to cook all of this tonight. I can pop it in the fridge and it will stay kind of dormant until tomorrow. All I have to do when I'm making any kinds of dough is just bring it to room temperature before working with it. So I just need to remember to bring it out in the afternoon, and then I'll be able to cook the naan to go with our curry tomorrow night. So because I've been scrolling down the recipe now, obviously our current step is further up. But what I can do as a little kind of cheat, rather than going next all through it, is there's 3 little dots on each step. So if I just tap that, and then go set as current step, it will jump all the way down. So into there now, we're going to put 60 grams of butter. So it's just chopped up there, cubed. And 2 teaspoons of granulated garlic. You could, you could skip out your garlic altogether if you wanted to. But if you've just got cloves of garlic, you can chop them first before you add the butter in. That would work perfectly too. So next again, and then we're just going to melt that for 1 minute. So 1 minute, 50 degrees on speed 1, we'll melt that so that we can brush it onto our naan as we cook it very shortly. So we've got a minute left on both of those. So I'm not going to start rolling our naan just yet. We'll do that in a second. Let's have some space while we wait for it. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat box for me and I can answer as we are cooking away. So we've got 15 seconds left on the melting of the butter and the garlic, and our steaming of our rice and the curry mixture has about 30 seconds left on that too before the next step. So what I'm going to do, it's not quite done there, as you can see. So I'm just going to, I should have pressed next. I got ahead of myself, but I can just use those 3 little dots to go back again. So if I didn't press next, there would have been a little repeat button down there that I could have pressed more easily, but I got ahead of myself and pressed it too quickly. All right, we're going to come over to our curry. So we're going to hit next on that. So it's just telling us to remove the aroma of the rice and set it aside. So, that's very much. First, and then I'll show you. So you would have seen that I just got water all over the screen. The beautiful thing about the TM7, I don't know about you guys, but I find if I've got anything on my phone or our iPad or anything like that, any crumbs, sticky fingers, that kind of thing, it always, I have trouble working with it. The TM7 is designed so well that we can continue using our steps and our screen as normal, even if it's wet, even if we've got sticky fingers, it doesn't affect its use whatsoever. So, I'll give it a lot because it's a lot, but if you do have wet fingers, you've got some flour on your fingers, anything like that, your screen's still going to work perfectly, which I absolutely love. So we're going to take the lid off now. And into there, we are going to place, I'll show you quickly. It's probably just going to pop up the camera. The curry mixture in there. So we're going to place 500 grams of chicken. It says chicken thighs. I've just got chicken breasts cut up tonight. You can absolutely switch them out. You just need to cut your chicken breast a little bit bigger. So it says 3 centimetre pieces for chicken thigh. So if it's chicken breast, it just cooks a bit quicker and then it will break down. Just make sure it's cut bigger because otherwise it'll kind of break down a bit too much as it's going. And then we have 20 grams of almond meal. So I actually ran out of almond meal, so we're going to really quickly make some tonight. It is so quick and easy. And this is where having a second bowl is a game changer. Obviously, with 1 Thermomix instead of 2 tonight, we would have already used a second bowl without making the naan first. Then we would have switched it out while it was proofing to make the curry. But things like this, when you're halfway through a recipe and you realise that you've forgotten something, just a quick change of the bowl will make your life so much easier. So I'm going to go back out of the recipe for a second. Down on the left-hand side here is the modes section. So down the bottom, if we scroll down, there's a bit of a kind of a quick guide, I suppose, for chopping and doing anything really. So if I go down on that, I should find nuts. Oh, actually, it's not going to bring it up properly. Anyway, I'm just going to go to manual cooking for now. And I'm just going to put a whole heap in because I usually have a container of almond milk. But all in, straight in. I'm going to pop the lid on and then we're going to mill that up. So just on speed 9 or 10 for probably about 20 seconds. This will be noisy, so Zoom will mute me out. So I'll see you again. I'll talk to you again in a second. But let's just set it for 20 seconds. Probably not even, to be honest. Let's try 10 because we don't want to overdo it and make nut butter. We'll try 10 first. We can always add a little bit more afterwards on speed 9. Yeah, I could hear the difference there. I think 20 would have definitely, I would have been starting to make some almond butter if I kept going with that. But you can see there, that is the almond meal made up in, just so you can see that it's nice and fine. So things like that, almond meal, rice flour, what else? All kinds of different things you can mill up in your Thermomix. So from here, before I keep talking, I'm going to pull down from the top of the screen. This is my cooking center. So my active recipes here. So if I just click on that, it will take me back to where I was. So what I was saying that, things like almond meal, rice flour, those kind of things are so obviously quick and easy to make with your Thermomix and so much cheaper than buying from the shops. Another way you'll save so much money with your TN7. So then I've got 230 grams of coconut cream. So it's just the rest of that canned coconut cream from earlier. I think I'll have a little bit less because I spilled a bit and I put too much in the rice. Oh, no. We're good. All right. So we're going to next again on there. We're going to put the lid back on. And I'm just going to show you now that's cooled down enough to touch. That rice is definitely on its way to being cooked now. Starting to thicken up beautifully. And we're going to pop that back on the top. Next again. And then we're just going to leave it to steam one more time. All right, so while that's cooking, we are going to cook our naan bread, and then it will be all done and finished at the same time. All right, so I've just got my bread mat. These are, this one is actually, this particular one, my other one's at the post office ready to pick up. This particular one has now been phased out. I'm just going to turn the camera for a brand new Thermomat that's being launched for you guys very soon. But they're amazing. Thermomat is an absolute game changer for anyone that owns Thermomix. They just make life so much easier when making breads and doughs and things. You don't have to flour your surfaces. You don't have to, they don't stick. They're just so handy and they're easy to wash. So I'm just going to tip my dough out onto that. And then, like we said before, the recipe said to separate into 10 pieces and then make that into balls. But again, guided cooking is just a guide. So you can make it bigger, smaller, like if I wanted small, I have 5 little kids. So they eat a lot, but I generally like to make them smaller pieces of naan. And then, if they want more, they can have more, but we're not wasting any as well. So I might make a couple of bigger ones and a couple of smaller ones. Do whatever you want. It's no hard and fast rules. It definitely doesn't have to be exactly 10. And I just saw that comment. Yes, this is why you need a second bowl. Everyone needs a second bowl. When the TM7 came out, obviously the second bowls weren't available straight away, even to us as consultants. We've not long had them now. And oh gosh, it was so hard to live without it for a while. Very first world problems, I know, but I now have got the second bowl again. It just saves so much time. So if anyone is watching that doesn't have a second bowl, well, if you're thinking about a TM7, now is the best time because we have our second bowl offer on. So you can get a second bowl with your TM7 purchase for only $149, or you can bundle it with an extended warranty as well. So our usual warranty is 2 years, but we've got an extra 3-year warranty, which is also part of an offer with purchase at the moment. So you can bundle a second bowl and the extra warranty for only $200. So it's over $700 in value for that offer. So I'm just going to pop that on the frying pan. And if you already have a TM7 or a TM6 and you are keen to get your hands on a second bowl, that they are available as fresh rewards this month as well. So you can invite someone to one of these virtuals, a couple of people to one of these virtuals, or you can organise your own virtual, or if you're local to me, we can organise an in-home demo as well. But that is only, or both of these offers are only until the end of this month. So if it's something you're interested in or you'd like some more information, please let me know. So I'm going to pop them in the frying pan on a high heat, and you're just going to wait a couple of minutes for them to bubble up, and then you're going to put them over, and that's it. And once they've done that, I'm going to put 3 in because 3 will fit, and that's it. I won't make you watch any more than that. And then once they're done, you're just going to brush them with that that butter and garlic mixture. Super, super easy and absolutely delicious. You're too busy by moving the camera over to my stove, but I'll bring the frying pan over just for a second, just so you can see how that's bubbled up there. So that's when you want to turn it. When it's beautifully bubbled up, flip it over. So yeah, there are quite a few different offers going with Thermomix at the moment. Like I said, the second bowl, you can, if the second bowl wasn't your thing, you don't feel like you use it, you can just buy the extended warranty on its own for $49. Thing over there. It's valued at $279. Sorry, the extended warranty on its own $99, value at $279. So saving of $180. So you've got the 3 options: the second bowl on its own, the extended warranty on its own, or both for new TM7 purchases. And we also have the trade-in and trade-up offers. You can trade in your previous model Thermomix for a discount on the TM7. So if you have a TM31, you can trade it in and get a $250 discount off a TM7. If you have a TM5, you can trade it in and get a $450 discount. Or if you have a TM6, you can trade it in for a $750 discount. If you don't have any of those, but you're considering a Thermomix, you can trade in any kitchen appliance, corded kitchen appliance that the TM7 replaces. So think about things like a blender, a rice cooker, kettle. There's so many different modes and functions that any of those that a TM7 replaces, you can trade in and get a $150 discount on that TM7. So the TM7 never really goes on sale. This is the only way to get a discount, is with a trade-up offer. And it's the first time we've seen a trade-up like this where you can trade in a kitchen appliance that's not a previous model Thermomix on the TM7. So it's been super, super popular. And you can still get the second bowl offer as well. So if you want any information on any of that or anything else, please let me know. I can send you through flyers and that kind of thing too. So just brushing on that garlic and butter mixture. I've been a bit generous on it, but that's okay. And that's it. That's your naan bread done. So I don't know about you guys, but if you haven't made it before because you thought that it might be a bit hard, what do you think? Is it easier than what you thought, or about what you thought? Let me know. It does look good, doesn't it, Catherine? I like naan bread, not gonna lie. Don't always make it because I like it too much. But tonight was a good excuse. All right. While our curry is finishing off, I'm just going to show you a couple more little tips and tricks and things from the screen of the Thermomix, and then we'll be all done. So we've got about 6 minutes left on the cooking time. So like I said before, we can go out anytime while you're cooking. You can go out of your recipe, go back to your home screen, and just kind of, I suppose, play with the Thermomix or have a look around, find some new recipes, maybe find the dessert you want to cook, any of those different things. It's all available there while cooking. You'll just see your current recipe timing up the top. So if we continue down the side, I showed you earlier, so this is your home screen, all we went through. The search button opens up Cookie-Doo, and like I said, you can search for anything in there. So if there was, you know, a dessert you wanted to make, I'm just going to, for example, put in pudding. You can search that and you'll bring up all different types of things. It's brought up custard as the first things, sticky date puddings, bread and butter puddings, brioche berry pudding, that sounds delicious. So all kinds of different things, and you can refine your search down as well. So you can refine it by the amount of time that you have to cook, preparation time or total time, the amount of portions, and all kinds of different things. So Cookie-Doo on the screen of your Thermomix is linked to the app on your phone or your Cookie-Doo on a computer, all integrated and all works exactly the same. You can use this to meal plan out for the entire week. You can use it to create a shopping list and everything. If we continue down the left-hand side here, the next icon is a recipe booklet. And this section is your recipes, or on this one, obviously, my recipes. So the first lot is recently cooked, which we went through earlier. My bookmarks, again, they're all saved here if I wanted to see them all. My recipe lists, so you can create your own kind of folders of recipes. You can make this whatever you want to do. I have quite a lot. Obviously, I use my Thermomix a lot. I have baking ones, breads, cocktails, breakfasts, all kinds of things, main meals. And then I have a to-try folder. That's my biggest tip for new Thermomix owners, is to create a to-try folder. So as you're having a bit of a browse through Cookie-Doo, looking at different things, and you think, oh, that looks good, add it to your to-try folder. And then when you're meal planning out each week, have a little look in there and try one new recipe per week. I think is a really great way to kind of expand what you're cooking a little bit. Moving on to the top, and if we open created recipes, this is a newer function of the TM6 and the TM7, and this is the ability to add your own recipes or import some recipes onto Cookie-Doo. So you may or may not have heard of the recipe community before. It's like a website that anybody can upload recipes to. But you can import recipes from the recipe community, which quite a few of these are, or you can create your own recipes as well. So if you've got a family favourite that you've converted to the Thermomix, you can add it in here so that you can use it with guided cooking and you don't have to pull out that old recipe book every time. So that is that section. Again, if we're continuing down the side here, the blades icon brings up our modes. So all of those 20 different modes that I was talking about are in this section and accessible. It's not going to let me open them all up while we're cooking, unfortunately. But you've got things like the browning and the dough that we've used. The cleaning mode there is an absolute game changer. To be able to add water, a little bit of dishwashing liquid, and then just pop it on to clean itself while you eat or prepare for the next thing, makes life so much quicker. Then you've got things like egg boiler mode. Open cooking is new with the TM7 as well, and that in certain situations you can cook without the lid. So if you're adding pasta and things, you can keep a closer eye on it to make sure that it's cooked to perfection, that kind of thing. We've got a rice cooker mode and reheating the kettle, slow cooker. So this would kind of give you an idea of all those appliances that you could trade in as well. Anything that you see here. And then the last section down the bottom is just a couple of extras. My week again, if you wanted to go back to that, but I don't generally find I use it after having it on the home screen. And then you've got your cookadoo profile, some settings and some help functions and stuff there as well. But all super user-friendly and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of it. Responsive. There's no kind of lag or anything on it either, which I love. Any questions about any of that or anything we've covered here tonight? Our curry is just about finished, so we'll dish it up and then we'll be all finished. Just grab a spoon out. I've got a few virtuals running through the rest of the month. So these offers that are only running until the 28th of this month. But around one of the offers, you are welcome to join any of my virtuals anytime. I aim for around one a week. And you can find them on my social media. If you're not already following, I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Thermo Loving Mum. But you are welcome to join any virtuals at any time. They're open to everybody. And yeah, I try to change things up and cook different things and stuff as well. So you're learning as much as you can. That's a big important thing to me, is that I want everybody to be loving and getting the most out of their Thermomix. All right, so what I'm going to do, another design feature of the TM7 is that it has an inbuilt glider foot. So it's got 3 feet on it. The foot at the back is a glider foot. So you can move your Thermomix around safely just by tilting it up a little bit and pushing it on that foot. So I'm just going to do that to create a bit more room. Always when you're opening your Varoma, open it away from you. It's a bit hard when I'm doing the camera. Just that way, so you're not giving yourself a steaming. Oh, sorry, I didn't do a very good job of putting the camera up for that. Opening it away that way, so you're not giving yourself a facial at the same time with that hot steam. And it's designed with a circle, like that flat circle in the middle, so that you can pop the actual Varoma dish on the top, and then you won't get condensation all over your bench as well. Less mess is better. So that is your rice beautifully cooked in there at the same time. Layered cooking it's no secret that it's my absolute favourite thing about Thermomix, is just to be able to pop everything on, layer it up, cook it all at the same time and walk away, especially, like I said, with a busy young family. I don't need to be spending any extra time in the kitchen. And hopefully you can see without me spilling it, there is our curry. So we'll just dish that up and then we're all done. So this curry makes quite a bit. I did add some extra chicken in. I think, once you get cooking with a Thermomix, you get used to the things that you can add extra and change around a little bit. Like I said, there's 7 in our family. So things like this, my kids are, even though they're little, they're pretty good eaters. So things like this, I just add extra. I know that it's quite a saucy curry, as you can see. So I add extra chicken in so that I know that we're going to have plenty to feed our family. But there we go. That is we got creamy chicken curry and rice. It's all layered up with our naan bread. Already looking forward to dinner tomorrow night. But that is it for us tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed tonight's virtual. Again, if you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'll reach out and check in with you tomorrow and see if you did. But yeah, thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, I'm just going to pop that link to check in one more time in the chat box. And if you haven't already, could you please just take a second to do that for me? That would be amazing. But otherwise, I'll hopefully see you all again soon. And thanks again for joining me. Thank you.